Something vast is stirring in the dark.
Why would they want me to review a Doctor Who car?
For accessories, all he comes with is this flashlight.
Yes, another hit!
This will haunt the souls of children for all eternity.
Oh, screw this, my nightmares are bad enough as it is.
No. Not you. Anything but you.
Hello YouTubers and random Doctor Who fans, it's me Ozzy, one part of the Morris Supreme YouTube channel, and today we're going to be looking at these 3D printed custom Daleks that I've made. So the base model was created by Edward Felix, and parts were casted by Ron Orker and myself, and they were all painted and constructed by me, but we'll get into the ins and outs of it throughout each custom because they all have a different story. It's very complicated, but I'm sure we'll be able to keep up. So custom number 1 is a remembrance of the Daleks Supreme. So as I said, it was made from the Imperial kit by Edward Felix, but I bought this as a resin kit from Ron Orker on Instagram, meaning that he 3D printed Edward Felix's kit, then he took a silicone mold of this 3D printed kit, then he casted it in normal resin, and then I got these casts, and then I made a mold of the cast and created my own Renegade Daleks. So it's a recast of a recast at the end of the day. So there's going to be a lot of surface imperfections, and it's not amazing quality. Overall, I used a black gloss plastic paint for deck chairs and outdoor furniture, so it wasn't particularly a great match. So let's look at the skirt section. The hemispheres are painted silver, but unfortunately they're not solid enough. I wouldn't recommend Games Workshop paints for metallic paints because they're very thin and they just they need a lot of coats and the end result doesn't look very good. The base is a matte black. The midsection is okay. The oval can barely be seen. The ball joints aren't actually ball joints, they were sculpted to look this way. And the weapons are character options models. The mesh and slats are pretty decent. I used some silver metal mesh and the slats are cardboard. The next section is a bit rough and misaligned, but oh well. The dome is decent. The eye iris is white and the headlights are orange with a silver trim. Overall, I'm not entirely happy with this piece because it was a recast of a recast and very sloppily painted, but since I now have a resin 3D printer, I'm gonna 3D model a new midsection and a new dome, and hopefully I'll be able to print a very crisp, clear copy of this thing, so please look out for that in the future. So custom number 2 also comes from Ron Orker. I bought this as a kit and painted it myself. So the top section was 3D modelled by him. This is obviously Davros from Terra Firma, the Big Finish audio story. Now I'm not sure why Ron insisted in casting this in fiberglass resin, because at the end of the day he could just sell the 3D printed parts, because I know that kind of takes a bit longer but the detail is much better and you don't get as many surface imperfections and things, but oh well. So the dome section looks pretty decent, but it's low poly, meaning that you can see all the polygons and it's not very smooth. This is kind of a pretty simple thing to rectify in something like Blender, but I'm not sure what 3D modeling software I used for this. I think in the future I'm going to have a try and replace this dome with a smoother one, but it's not on the priority list right now. The next section looks decent, but I'd say that it's a little bit out of proportion compared to the rest of the body. The slats should be longer and taller, and there should be mesh where the black section is. And the lip on the top doesn't quite work. It's one of those things where it's kind of difficult to tell what it looks like because there's not an awful lot of reference, but it kind of overlaps a bit too much, and it's the same for the waistband section as well. That's kind of a bit too wide. The skirt is just an Imperial Dalek skirt, and I've painted it silver and gold, but around the back you can see a very ugly seam line, this is how I got it when I bought it from Ron. It's a bit of a shame that he wasn't able to patch this up particularly well, but it is what it is. I tried to fill it myself, but I just couldn't get it to work. And the base has been painted black. The colours of this piece were a bit of a nightmare because there's two different source materials for this. There's the Big Finish cover art version, and there was a Davros trailer which showed off the colours of this thing. In the cover art it looks silver, but in the trailer it looks like a pearl white colour. The hemispheres are gold in the trailer, but on the cover art they look blue, and so on and so forth. So I can excuse a little bit of creative license with this, but I would like to revisit this at some point and maybe give it a different paint job. So overall, this does represent the Terra Firma Davros pretty well, but in terms of accuracy, I would have to say it was a miss. But I think this probably was one of the first 3D models that Ron made, so I'm not going to berate him for it because he has done a good job. So finally, custom number 3, we have our saviour, the fully 3D printed Dalek, which I printed myself on my resin 3D printer. This is of course from Curse of the Fatal Death, so it uses the Imperial Dalek sculpt overall, just painted in a flat grey. I used an Elegoo Saturn 3D printer for this, meaning that the details are very crisp and in 4K resolution, so it's really, really nice. So yeah, like I said, an overall flat grey primer was used for this with details of a black base, black hemispheres, black slats, black waistband and black neck section. On the back, the skirt section doesn't feature the same mould defects as the fiberglass resin counterpart, so it's much cleaner and much more crisp. The midsection is the same as the Imperial Dalek, so it retains the iconic hexagon and the slat details. The plunger is a 3D print, and so is the gun. The neck section is aligned much better and painted much tighter, and the dome has much less surface errors than the resin kit version. The headlights are from a Character Options model and painted with a clear red, so they are still translucent. The iris of the eye is white, and the stalk is a flat grey with a black end. Now the base of this kit is really, really cool. It's got 3 half spheres with little lines on them. I think this is true to how the props actually looked on the Imperial Dalek, so massive props to Edward Felix for doing this. So overall, this is the cleanest copy out of the 3, and I'm very pleased with this one. So in terms of articulation, they do actually have articulation. The gloss black Dalek has just a cocktail stick for the articulation, which is not great because it means that when it turns it kind of comes off quite easily. But the Curse of the Fatal Death Dalek, I've included a magnet and a pivot joint, so it means if I turn it upside down and shake it, it doesn't move anywhere, and when I do a full 360 rotation, it's still flat to the dome, so it's really cool. Overall, out of the 3, the Curse of the Fatal Death Dalek wins because it's just much sharper, much tighter. But like I said, in future I am going to redo the other 2 anyway, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, massive thanks to Edward Felix for creating this really awesome kit. And a massive thanks goes to Ron Orker for providing me with the Terra Firma kit. He's a really talented prop maker, and I definitely suggest that you go follow him on Instagram. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I've been Ozzy, and you've been awesome, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.